Welcome, everybody. Back again for our fourth episode of Racing the Field with Kaleb Kraus. This is Kaleb Kraus, and I got plenty to talk about today. Should I start with, we got the Final Four set? Or perhaps the fact that the Detroit Red Wings playoff hopes, they're living on the edge. Running out of hope pretty quickly with less than 10 games left in the regular season in the NHL. We could start off by talking about the Tigers' start to the 2024 baseball season. They looked pretty sharp in their first series, as they were able to win all three games against the Chicago White Sox in Chicago. Or we could go ahead and talk about all the other sports stuff happening this past week and the last couple weeks. Been plenty of excitement in the NASCAR world. From William Byron dominating at Coda to the pretty controversial ending to Richmond Raceway on Easter evening. It was quite the racing the last couple weeks. We also got WrestleMania to look forward coming up this weekend. The two-night spectacular will be must-see. We're going to take a quick little break, and when we come back, we'll get into some Final Four chat, including the Battle of the Behemoths. That will be Zach Edey against DJ Burns Jr. Alright, we're back from our little break. As I promised, a little bit about this weekend's Final Four. Well, the matchups are set. Number one overall seed and defending national champions Connecticut Huskies will take on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Yep, that's right. Alabama in the Final Four. Not in football, basketball. As for the other side of the Final Four, we'll get one-seeded Purdue against the Cinderella story of the whole tournament, the 11th-seeded NC State Wolfpack. Purdue finally did it. They got that monkey off their back. For the first time in 44 years, they're in the Final Four. As for NC State, they'll try to win a national title for the first time since 1983 when Jimmy Valvano led the Wolfpack to the defeat of an unbeaten Houston Cougars team. Boy, this Zach Edey versus DJ Burns Jr. matchup's going to be fun. It's very comparable to a matchup that happened in the NBA several years ago. It might feel like we'll be watching Yao Ming versus Zach Randolph on Saturday night. If you like very large specimens of basketball players, this is the matchup for you. No, I won't hide it. I'm saddened by the fact that Purdue made the Final Four. Ruins a good punchline. But it is what it is. Zach Edey and the Boilermakers, they did it. They went from getting upset last year as a 1 seed by a 16 seed to reaching the Final Four. Can they win it all? Don't know. The Huskies at UConn look pretty stout. Then again, all four teams have the best chance of any. One thing's for sure, there'll probably be lots of free throw shot. What Edey was able to do in Purdue's Elite Eight victory over Tennessee was pretty incredible. 40-point performance with over 15 rebounds. That's crazy. I mean, normal people don't do that. But his game isn't all that, in my opinion, fun to watch. But he's obviously the star of college basketball and has been. So we all just have to deal with it. As I stated in a previous episode, thank God this is the last run for that large object. I think the funniest thing from yesterday's win for Purdue was the fact that Edey didn't even have to climb a ladder to cut down the nets. How many times has that happened? Looking towards our hometown Detroit Red Wings, well, they certainly haven't given themselves any favors. They're right in the thick of the playoff fight for them last wild card spots, but this past weekend's loss against the Florida Panthers in overtime kind of took a lot out of them. They got a big clash in Tampa Bay, but an L there all but seals the deal. Man, had a lot of hope this season. They were fun to watch, but man, it doesn't look like playoffs are ready for the Red Wings, or should I say the Red Wings are ready for the playoffs, rather. I know I'm being superstitious, but that jersey patch, that's really starting to feel like that was the thing that turned this team in the wrong direction. Well, I suppose, at least it's baseball season now. Tigers are off to a good start. 3-0. We're able to beat the White Sox in all 3 games. Pitching's looking great. They started showing some signs of life in the batting. Who knows? Maybe it's going to be a good year for the Tigers. That's been long awaited. Long good fun. Long way to go. But a 3-0 start, couldn't ask for better than that. Well, at least everything, spring football practice is in full swing. I, for one, can't wait for later this month. The spring showcase up in Michigan State. Get a look at our new coaching staff and all our new players. Anything's better than 4-8. Anything's better than the nonsense college football's been for the last 3 years. Thank God we don't got to hear about Jim Harbaugh's Michigan team no more. New coaches at both places as head coach, that's different. That don't happen very often in the same sport at the same time. That'll be interesting when us 2 rivals face off this coming fall. All this talk's been fun. I'm going to take a little break, and this time when I come back, we're going to get into what I really want to talk about. The controversy at the end of the Richmond race this past weekend. The site was Richmond, Virginia. Richmond Raceway. Flat track, short track, old style short track, whatever you want to call it. Well, short tracks always have some interesting aspects, and it's usually controversial. That was no different on Sunday night. Virginia's own Denny Hamlin was able to get his 53rd career victory in the NASCAR Cup Series. This one, with the biggest controversy around it, that NASCAR never even viewed as controversial. Martin Truex Jr. was leading the race with 2 laps to go when a untimely caution as ever came out, when Bubba Wallace in his 23 car accidentally got in the back of Kyle Larson and sent him spinning. That led to late race pit stop. And Denny Hamlin, his pit crew, showed up, delivered, beat his teammate Truex off the pit lane, and really, that's the difference maker, really. But then everyone's seen the replay of the restart, because Fox decided not to show the restart live for whatever reason. So we all got a replay. that appears to show that Hamlin went a little early on the restart. That video, I don't know. NASCAR made their call, but it certainly looked like he started rolling early. And Truex was adamant that Hamlin did take off early. And he even showed his displeasurement after the race, slamming his teammate Hamlin in the rear end of his car. But he took his anger out before that on an innocent Kyle Larson for whatever reason. Short track racing. Gotta love it. Yeah, personally, I don't much care for Richmond. But they go to Martinsville next, and everybody knows what the paperclip brings to the sport. Who knows what crazy outcome we're going to get there. Boy, mad drivers, upset drivers, issues. That's been the definition the last couple weeks in NASCAR. At all three levels. Heck, the Richmond Xfinity race saw Joey Gase decide to throw his rear bumper at another car. But that didn't sit too well with the officials in NASCAR. Wonder what kind of punishment he'll get from that one. Whatever all the outcome from all this craziness amongst NASCAR's drivers, NASCAR definitely has its hands full. I do have one more comment about the fact that Fox didn't show the restart. That tells me one thing, in my humble opinion. NASCAR's back to its old tricks of messing with the racing to drive a narrative, which they love to do that, and that never works out for the sport in the end. Call it a hot take, but we'll see how it plays out the rest of the year, especially if people keep jumping restarts. Mr. Hamlin. I'm going to take one more little break, and then we'll talk a little bit. I'll take a little bit to close out the show with my fiery takes for the week. The last little bit I'm going to talk about today is this coming weekend's WrestleMania. 2 nights, all the wrestling action you need to see. But I got one big take for you on it. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. It's time for the Tribal Chief's reign to end. Please, for the love of God, let it end. Let Cody Rhodes win the world title. Please, just let him win it, man. There's no bigger star in the company right now. And what the heck is going on with the Judgment Day? Is Rhea Ripley all ready for Becky Lynch this weekend? What's going through the head of Seth Rollins as he and Cody Rhodes will face The Rock and Roman Reigns on Saturday night's edition of WrestleMania? Is Rollins ready for McIntyre? Will Rollins turn on Rhodes? A lot of things are going to be answered at WrestleMania. Well, that's pretty much all I got to say for this week's episode of the podcast. Hopefully, sometime here soon, I'll be able to have a good guest that a lot of you will like to hear from, because he's as passionate about sports as I am. That's a good old college buddy of mine, Jack Wainick. I like to get him on to have him chat with him about his passion for Michigan State athletics, the Los Angeles Lakers, and his love for pro wrestling. Maybe even get his takes on what happened at WrestleMania. Well, it's been fun. Thanks for listening in. Have a good evening. Bye.